look at the candidate in UP, people look at the party. What you got then is 339 to 368.
Look at the screen at the bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, you are seeing potentially one of the biggest landslides. India affirming its faith in Namo once again. It's not a vote out of majburi, it's a vote where people seem to be elated. If this is correct, 339 to 368. If this is not correct, Pradeep Gupta and I and possibly Rajdeep are heading to Kedarnath very quickly. Because
and we've got some good news for you. Dhaval Dange says, take a bow, Rajdeep Sardesai and Rahul Kanwal, one of the finest case studies in how to present an exit poll. So we can take that. Lots of good work. For once we are being praised, we must take all the praise. Since Soumya Verma, thanks for finally putting up UP numbers. I am in my part of the world, it's past 1 a.m. I am glued to your screen. Brilliant coverage.
365 to 368?
No, yeah, 368 is not right number. The right number is 3. No, that is wrong.
So it's coming.
Corrected.
339 to 365. Pradeep, you're being watched in Singapore.
Australia, Canada, everywhere.
1 a.m. you're being watched. Sandeep, you've done a fantastic job. This has been unique. We've normally given always the exit poll numbers at the top like other channels do and then debate between politicians. We wanted to keep the politicians out so that we got some quality analysis. The big picture that's coming in clearly is that there is a Modi wave. Rahul uses the word cyclone, someone will use tsunami. What is clear is that was the undercurrent. People kept asking, what's the silent voter?
But where is the current? You know, you were saying the journalists are great at predicting elections. I think they're terrible predicting elections because they went all over. They came back confused.
Rajdeep Sardesai,
Rajdeep is much better. Rajdeep, I must say, is much better.
Rajdeep's article, Tsunami part 2.
Rajdeep is much better. No question about that. Everybody came back and said either this can happen or that can happen. Well, I can say that sitting here.
I think we are scared. You see, in today's polarized atmosphere, the moment I said Tsunami Part 2, a WhatsApp group of friends said, Modi ne aap big gaye ho. मैंने कहा big gaye. This is the tragedy. Poor Pradeep Gupta will also be accused of a paid survey.
No, but remember, there's nothing about being paid here. Because on the 23rd, you'll know whether he had any clue about what he was saying or not. So it's a lot of prestige that's at stake.
For these numbers, 2 states have made all the difference. West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh. The fact that the BJP has been able to retain Uttar Pradesh and the fact that in West Bengal they have made deep inroads, these 2 results which our exit poll shows is the one that has contributed to the type of majority that we are projecting for the BJP. Otherwise, what people were earlier saying about the NDA getting a majority but BJP falling short would have been a reality if not for these 2.
For a moment, take a historical, just a minute, a historical context, if that halfway is right, 350, the last time that happened was the sympathy wave election of 1984, where they got 400 plus. Before that, it was Indira Gandhi's election of 1971, the Garibi Hatao election. I see some parallels with the Garibi Hatao election because a lot of that was, वो कहते हैं Indira हटाओ, मैं कहती हूँ गरीबी हटाओ. Now Modi has turned that around. वो कहते हैं मोदी हटाओ, मैं कहता हूँ देश को मजबूत करो, देश बचाओ. Somewhere do you see parallels between this election and 71 or this election and 84? Because if this is 350, it's a 2/3 majority. And a 2/3 majority has huge implications in parliament and beyond.
Rajdeep, I would see the comparisons more with 1971, where Mrs. Gandhi led the Congress to a victory with a very important slogan like Garibi Hatao. If these exit poll numbers hold, something similar will has happened in this election, with the Prime Minister leading the NDA to this victory if these numbers hold. I would not compare it with 1984 because 1984 I think was a very different election. Another point of difference, to achieve what, if these exit poll numbers hold, to achieve this in 2019 in the context of coalition politics would be a huge achievement. That the NDA would of course have a majority within the NDA, BJP itself.
No, but remember, if this is what comes true on the 23rd, then whether it's Article 35A, whether it's 370, whether it's Uniform Civil Code, Ram Temple, all of that then is on the cards. They're not going to hold back. With this kind of a victory, they will go with full blast, implementing the ideological agenda and whatever else it is that Narendra Modi decided he wanted to do when he was at Kedarnath through the last night, getting his mojo back. He was tired after the campaign. Let me show you what the new parliament could look like. Pradeep Gupta is taking a lot of pride, prestige, reputation when he's picking a bigger number than any. Could look like. Remember, as I said, Brexit got it wrong. The US pollsters in a very simple election in the United States couldn't tell Donald Trump was winning. So could
and
look
Australia
like
got it wrong this morning.
54 polls went wrong in Australia. I woke up, that's the first thing I read when I saw 54 polls going wrong. I said, oh Lord, please tell me these aren't happening here. 339 to 365 for the most formidable politician in his generation. Narendra Modi, take a bow. If this turns out to be correct, this is electoral magic. Narendra Modi has struck a bond with the voters of India that goes so deep that is incomparable. Nobody comes close. Like nobody comes close to India today. Nobody comes close, Rajdeep, to Narendra Modi.
You know, he's
77 to 108 for the UPA. This is not the Congress's number. This is the UPA, which suggests, and we'll show that to you in a moment, that the Congress could just be a handful of seats more than they picked up the last time.
And I want to make one other point, Rahul. I think if these numbers hold, a lot of introspection for the Congress, because they will be at a number not very high from last time. I don't know what Pradeep's final number for the Congress.
We don't want to give it up right now. After a break, we have 3 hours of programming still to go.
You know, there's that question. But I think, you know, the big difference between 2014 and now is the machine is now well oiled. In 2014, I still believe even if the machine was reasonably oiled, it would have won given the scale of the anti-incumbency against Manmohan Singh's government. Now it's a well-oiled Ferrari running a Formula One versus the other sides who are still running like old Fiats and taxis.
Rajdeep, at the same meeting which we had with Rahul Gandhi said, you know, we're like a vehicle, you tweak a few parts and it springs back to life. You know, that's his view. There's a problem here. You think that you're a vehicle, you just need to tweak a few things, fix the oil and you'll spring back to life. Well, you're fundamentally a Maruti 800 chassis. You need to overhaul the chassis itself.
Who is their equivalent of Amit Shah?
They don't have one.
You see, it's one thing to say who's the equivalent of Modi. That's leadership. But you need people to run your strategy year after year, month after month.
Execution on the ground.
Execution on the ground. Now, you know, the Congress handed part of the strategy to someone like Sam Pitroda. They handed some of their strategy to some local leaders. K.C. Venugopal is handling Rahul's office. I don't think any of these leaders measure up to what we are seeing on the other side. When you are facing the kind of competitive machinery, I keep using the word media, money, machine, Modi. Some of them may be in negative connotations. Either way, they all add up to a very difficult machine to defeat. And therefore,
no, but he's working harder, Rajdeep. I contest this.
Yes.
He's putting in more effort. He's working harder.
Agreed.
He's smarter. He's sharper than his competition.
So
if you're up against Usain Bolt, you're not running fast enough, and you say, well, Usain Bolt is running too fast. I don't like it. He's on steroids. How does it work?
No, Rahul, I'm saying if your competitor is an Olympic athlete, you can't be a league level Mumbai athlete. You have to raise your game.
No, but you could be Sunil Gavaskar's son, but if you're Rohan Gavaskar, you have to make space for the next Virat Kohli.
Look,
no disrespect to Rohan Gavaskar.
Let me be fair to Rahul Gandhi here. If this is the result, whoever it was would not have been able to win. But clearly, unless you have an alternative narrative, my bigger problem with the opposition is, where is the narrative? You played Nyay. But if you play this narrative of Nyay, it's got to go and be communicated so strongly with 72,000 rupees. You didn't tell people.
So let's take a break. Because we don't want to be slipping.
Nobody knows what is Nyay.
Who knows what is Nyay?
Especially for those who should have gone to it has not gone to it.
There are lots of questions we're being asked. People want to know what's the BJP's own figure, what's the Congress's figure, how much is the DMK getting in Tamil Nadu, what's happening nationally. We'll bring the election intelligence machine to life when we come back. I hope you've enjoyed this ride. We've told you just the big numbers. This is where we dive deep. I know you've got lots of questions. We'll start putting out answers to those questions. Rajdeep and I come back on the other side of a quick